Hi, everybody. My name is Alex Jekowsky. I'm now the Senior Director of Commerce here at Modo. I have to get used to not just saying founder of Ulingo, so that's a little getting used to. But as Rebecca said, I was the founder of Ulingo. It was actually acquired by Modo Labs about 3 months ago. And it's not lost on me that you didn't come all the way to a higher ed mobile conference to possibly not hear about commerce. And that's totally fine because I'm glad that you did. I'm glad that you're here because commerce isn't just about payments. It's not just about transactions. It's about the impacts that it has, and specifically within higher ed and mobile. It goes so much farther beyond just students specifically, how they're buying and their purchasing trends and how they're interacting within the commercial environment. So to give you a sense a little bit about what I'm going to be talking about today, I want to talk a little bit about some background of the beginning of Modo Marketplace, of Ulingo, and how Modo Marketplace began. Give some of you guys a sense of what are the e-commerce trends happening, but specifically for students, their purchasing habits, and how universities are taking advantage of that, of those numbers. More specifically, the sharing economies, and you'll hear this term throughout my presentation about sharing economy, peer-to-peer marketplace. They all have the very similar functions, but the growth within the sharing economies, as I'm sure many of you are aware of, all these popular apps, Airbnb, Uber, all within the sharing economy. And how that impacts mobile, right? How do the sharing economies impact the engagement on mobile, the way students engage with mobile, the value that mobile has specifically for a campus. And once you have the sharing economy flowing within a campus, how can you streamline additional pieces of commerce and the value of doing that on a campus? So just again, some background, as Rebecca touched on, I was the founder of Ulingo that ran for 6 years, and our real focus was on the peer-to-peer economy, the way that students buy and sell to each other. Now, we focused on the peer-to-peer economy because obviously it's a really big market. As you can see, when we started, actually right before 2014, the sharing economy market size was estimated by PwC at around $15 billion. In 2022, that's estimated to be about $355 billion, so a relatively significant growth. And with the Uber IPOs and the IPOs of some of the sharing economies, we expect that number to be much, much bigger. And so we built Ulingo really trying to focus on this industry, but with a really mobile presence. And we considered mobile kind of a top priority for us because of all the e-commerce transactions that are happening. Over 60% of them are happening on a mobile device. So students are engaging in the sharing economies, they're engaging in mobile. Of the 67% of mobile transactions, 70% of that is coming from students and millennials. So they're doing this today, but in higher ed, in the landscape in higher ed, it's not really available to them. But what do students think about the sharing economy? What are the impacts that it has? Well, as I said earlier, students are the most excited about the sharing economy. They're the most rapid engagers in a sharing economy. But beyond that, they believe that it's based on trust, right? And if you think about it, what is a more trusting environment for students to be engaging within a sharing economy than their campus? There's this immediate commonality they have with another user, and they feel that this trust is critical in building a successful marketplace. A marketplace has the tendency to build a community. We call this a community of commerce. Where you're buying and selling, where you're engaging with folks is your community, and you're driving connections between people. In the sharing economy, the relationship between a buyer and seller starts after the transaction, opposed to you use Amazon, and the relationship with that seller ends at the point of transaction. We want students, when they're meeting up with each other and exchanging these goods, to actually build relationships, because the chances are, if I'm selling a textbook and the student's buying it, they're going to be taking a class that I took with the same teacher that I had. And the opportunity for relationship there and building that community is pretty significant. On the sustainability side, you have this recycling economy, right? Students giving and sharing items that are relevant to what they need today, right? When students, what a sophomore is getting rid of, chances are a freshman's going to need. And so you're able to actually create a more sustainable environment on campus. by reducing the amount of waste that's being lost, especially during move-in and move-out time, the amount of items that are left in dorms, on the side of the road, in garbage cans, that could be recycled on campus. Obviously, sharing economy presents a lot of convenience. Uber is a great example. But the ability to just buy and sell things without worrying about the logistics and price points creates a much more convenient experience for a student. And the most top of mind for many students is affordability. The ability to get things that they need on campus, lifestyle needs, academic needs, at a more affordable price because it's coming from another student is incredibly significant. So I talked about, why did we focus on this? Obviously, students see a lot of impact from a sharing economy beyond just I can now buy and sell. But the reason we focused on this, because if we think of the landscape of campus commerce, the way that students are buying and selling things today, or at least buying things today, we see it in kind of three main tiers. The bookstore being one, and the bookstores have a higher ed focus, obviously, but then there are general bookstores. Retail, general retail and e-commerce, Amazon, Best Buy, things like that have higher ed, EDU, student deals that has some kind of student focus. The third is the sharing economy. And in the landscape of the sharing economy, there is no EDU focus whatsoever. There is no focus towards students at all. And that's the opportunity that we tried to take advantage of and to say, it's not just about offering student deals, it's about building something custom for the experience of a student. When a student gets to campus for the first time, they're really starting their own independent e-commerce life outside of their parents. They're becoming a consumer. And to create an experience that's customized for them is critical. And so to do that, what's really important is to focus on safety of a student. We see a lot of universities, before Ulingo existed, actually created internet sales safety zones, where they would draw in chalk a square in their parking lot, put a floodlight and a 24/7 surveillance camera. So when people are buying or selling things on Craigslist and they get mugged, at least there's a video of it, which is great. It is a step forward, and that's a great thing. But we think more could be done to maybe avoid the need for something like that. The security of payments, the security that a campus environment can provide when something is facilitated by the university is significant. And things like Craigslist rental scams that plague universities all the time because it's not something sponsored by the university or vetted whatsoever. When students are beginning their e-commerce lives, they're being taken advantage of by these non-EDU focused, these non-student focused generic platforms. And in building this marketplace, you can see a little screenshot here, what's so important for the student is to have something integrated and engaging. It's not just about offering a platform, it's something that is integrated in what they're doing today. We're not trying to change a behavior, and we're not introducing a new behavior. This is something, buying and selling is one of the most frequent daily activities of a student. And we want to enable that activity to happen within environments that they're already engaging with today. You need something accessible, obviously, web and mobile. We have a big focus on mobile, but students are still making purchases on desktop, and it's important not to ignore that. And dynamic. Now, we say dynamic, the importance of commerce being dynamic on a campus, because there are a lot of different personas, a lot of different types of transactions. And I show this example here because on a generic marketplace, you post something to sell. But on a marketplace built for campus, if I'm a student and I know that I'm posting a textbook to sell, and there's an ISBN number, an ISBN section that can pop up because the marketplace knows I'm trying to sell a textbook. Well, this not only helps with discovery when I'm trying to sell an item, but this integrates directly within a bookstore buyback program and can drive foot traffic to a bookstore and ties into so many different pieces of campus to where it is really dynamic for the end user, for the university, for different auxiliaries and departments to find value from the sharing economy. And then you need something customized. We want, on the management side of this marketplace, while it requires very little management, it's a very self-sustaining platform. On the university administrative side, if this is going to be put out by the university, it's got to be something that they're also familiar with. And so to be able to create a marketplace and spin up a marketplace within the same environment that a university is currently doing, building applications for their mobile app is critical. To have this being very, very familiar. Again, we don't want to change habits. We want to introduce something that's just going to be more engaging and a better tool for students. So here you'll see a little GIF or GIF, whatever you call it, a video of what it's like of just simply going through a transaction. And I want to really hit home on the value and importance of the peer-to-peer economy, the impacts that it makes. You want to create a safer campus. You want to create a more affordable student experience through the sharing economy. You want to be able to reduce waste through this recyclement of goods for a more sustainable and green campus. You want to increase stickiness in your app. You want to give students a reason to go to the app that's not just, I need to check my grades. 100% of the content on a marketplace like this is student generated. And we heard so many times in presentations yesterday, how do you create a valuable app experience? It's giving students the opportunity to be the content creators. Students only go to the marketplace because they want to. They want to sell something. They want to buy something. They got a message through our internal messenger. They got an offer through our PCI compliant payment system. They're being brought back to the app, but simply because they want to. And you're able to create this connectivity, this engagement, and this community within this community of commerce. And of course, it's pretty nice that there's no licensing fee associated with the peer-to-peer marketplace, specifically for Modo customers. So if you wanted to have all of these things in a campus app right now, immediately, to be able to create a safer campus, increase the affordability, you can do that simply by adding a button in a campus app, and that's it. No additional cost. It's just we want to try to find ways to give students a better student experience and drive more value for a campus app beyond just the academics. So just to give you guys a sense of what we've seen on a marketplace, I love some of these posts to see how students get really creative on how they try to make money and what they get rid of. So here's an example, students selling bikes. It's pretty frequent, they sell bikes. This is one of my favorites. A student created a business on the marketplace of painting pet pictures. So for $5, she will paint a picture of your pet and sell it to you, and that's the business using her talents. It's pretty cool. Move in, move out, as I said earlier, really popular time. Students need to get rid of their stuff, sell their furniture for much cheaper than you'll find at Bed Bath & Beyond. Now, I show this of I think this is a $7,000, $8,000 car. I show this as an example because we've had $20,000 cars listed and we've had $2 lamps. There's no specific price of items that are on the marketplace. It really is what students need to buy and sell, and we love to see when they're selling large ticket items like this because they feel that this is their community and this is where they want to create these exchanges. Then you have kind of academic and lifestyle necessities, electronics, textbooks with the ISBN number associated so you can find what you need if you're changing your class and get rid of that textbook that you just spent a lot of money on. I love this because this is our wanted kind of section. It gamifies it a little bit for the sellers. I want to ride to the airport. I want a bike. I want something. It lets sellers know that there's opportunities for them to make money. And it lets the students know that they have the ability to share what they need with the rest of their campus. So I want to ride to the airport, like I said, I want a bike, I want a specific textbook, and I have those things lying around. Might as well make some money off of them. And then we have services. We see students doing tutoring, DJing, handiwork, cleaning, any way to make a dollar. And you see them priced at hourly and flat rates. So a lot of different kinds, and these are just a few of commerce and transactions that we see of students engaging with a marketplace. Some campuses you could see $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 worth of items on the marketplace every single month. The engagement rates can get pretty high. So what makes a successful marketplace? What is the value generated? And we heard this in presentations yesterday. Less clicks equal greater results. We want to give students the information they need, enable them to flow through transactions and get the information they need through a marketplace without having to have several clicks, especially with push notifications is such a huge driver for that. And the campus app really gives us the ability to leverage that. We always build for the end user. We always build for the student because they are the content creators. They are the ones engaging on the platform on both sides, buying and selling, messaging and transacting. We're always building this functionality and user interface to be familiar to them. What systems, what platforms are they using today? How can we replicate those designs so they're familiar with it and we don't have to change their behavior and teach them a new UI to interact with? We want to push students to connect on the platform as well as in person as much as possible. And that's the value of a hyper-local, right, of a peer-to-peer marketplace, of a sharing economy. Students are meeting up with each other, and that's what we're trying to push through our messaging system. Obviously, mobile. We're going to reach students on a mobile device as much as we can. We build for that end user on mobile, and the integration within a campus app is the key to that. And in any successful marketplace, which I'll give you a few examples in a second, you want to enable more things on less platforms. And that goes beyond just marketplaces, and mobile is the same. Your strategy with a Modo campus app is to deliver to a student more opportunity, experiences to engage, and information within one platform. Don't have 50 apps on campus, have one. So we look at Uber as a marketplace. They started just as black luxury town cars that you could call on an app. That's how it started. Got great engagement, got great user engagement. So then they expanded to all kinds of transactions, and that's just not Uber Pool and Express and things like that, but they bought a bike rental company, and they invested in scooters, and then they got into delivery and logistics, but you never download a different app. All of this happens in one central experience, and that is the true growth of a marketplace, starting with a core function that answers a need for their end user, and building upon that as they're able to aggregate more users and deliver more value to those users. Airbnb, another example, just for couch surfing. That's how it started. Founders needed to have a couch to sleep on, and then launched it in New York for other people to have a couch to sleep on. And then they expanded to all sides of home rental, for a room in an apartment to the entire apartment, to one-day rentals to long-term rentals. And now you can book your entire trip and travel experience through Airbnb. Where you go to in your destination, all of your experiences can be facilitated. Your surfing lessons, your guided tours, your homestay, everything can be facilitated through Airbnb on one platform. So one marketplace that started with a core function to answer a need of their users, and then building upon that to facilitate additional kinds of activities and transactions in commerce. In higher ed, though, who would believe that that opportunity doesn't exist? Especially for students when they complete their day-to-day transactions. A student, on average, could hit 10 platforms when trying to pay their membership dues, purchase a parking permit, sell a couch to a friend, the myriad of different transactions that happen on campus. Students are directed to different platforms to get any of these things done. Meanwhile, none of them are on a campus app, and none of them are done through mobile for the most part. And we don't believe that needs to or should be the case. So like I said, we started on student-to-student transactions, where we see great engagement from students. We learn so much from student and university feedback on what creates a strong platform. But just like Modo and the campus app launched personas and enables personas through a campus app, well, we did the same thing through Marketplace. We enabled students who are officers of organizations to switch their persona from being a student to an organization officer and post on behalf of their student organization. And now within the same experience, students can post membership dues on behalf of their organizations. We can complete all kinds of student organization commerce, membership dues, branded merchandise, ticketing, bake sales, anything that's driving transactions and revenue for student organization can now flow through this system. And being an integrated platform, not only is it all accessible through a campus app, but the transactions themselves can be made through Apple Pay, Google Pay, credit and debit, even the campus card. You can pay for your student organization membership dues with your campus card, with your student ID points at Vanderbilt, with their Commodore Cash, all through the marketplace. And then bookstores always want to get involved. Bookstores have all this old inventory, especially Apple products. They can't show on the floor old Apple products. So they want to sell this to the campus because they have it sitting in a warehouse and they don't really have a way to sell it. So they can use the marketplace to post student deals or purchase student used goods or grow their buyback programs through the marketplace. And we work with tons of bookstores on campuses to help them grow revenue and foot traffic. And then storefronts, university departments. Just like a student organization needs to complete their commerce, so do university departments. To be able to sell things directly to students, faculty can have their own marketplace depending on the user ID. All users are logged in through single sign-on. There's no extreme onboarding process, and there can be a single login through a campus app. It's really trying to build and streamline campus commerce. So in the examples of strong marketplaces, Modo started Modo and Ulingo started as just a student-to-student marketplace to facilitate student transactions the way they buy and sell on campus. And how can we make that experience seamless, integrated, safe, and secure? And then we expanded to student organizations. That was the next step for us in building and streamlining campus commerce. Then we realized student organizations, it didn't have to stop there. We can facilitate all kinds of student transactions. With the kind of payment gateway that we have, the relationships that we're able to develop on campus, it's so important to us to work with different departments on campus. The student-to-student marketplace doesn't really take management. It doesn't take daily management. It's a self-sustaining marketplace. And much like a campus app, sometimes a campus app doesn't take much management. But getting departments on the campus app and growing the value for different auxiliaries and organizations on campus through the campus app is so incredibly valuable, and same with the marketplace. When you get student organizations to be delegated rights to create their pages on a campus app, you can do the same thing, and now you can give them authorization to create posts on the marketplace, and you can add their membership due link inside of that student organization page within a campus app. So just some feedback we got from universities, and the reason I'm showing this is not just to go through and read testimonials or read quotes, but to show the different sides of campus that are engaging. We have CIOs, we have marketing and PR teams that launch the marketplace. We have academic affairs, implementation teams, involvement departments, bookstores, whoever champions a marketplace on their campus, it rarely ends there. It's always a start on campus to where all these other organizations now see the value. At UC Davis, it was their bookstore to say, we want to facilitate this student-to-student marketplace. We see so many students buying and selling on campus. We just want to offer this to our students. We don't really know anything about it, but we know this is happening on campus, and we want to facilitate it. And after 2 months of working with the bookstore, now their housing and dining services want all the gift packages, and their bike barn wants all their rental bikes and bikes on the marketplace, and their student organizations want all their membership dues and ticketing to go on the marketplace. So it always starts in one area because somebody sees a need that they want to solve on campus, or they want to drive app engagement and create a stickier app. They want to help their organizations. It starts somewhere, but just like Stuart said yesterday, the first day with the marketplace is great, but it's not your best day because you can take it so much farther with working with other organizations on campus and getting buy-in from different departments. Oops. Well, anyway. You guys don't need to hear, I think you guys get the point about peer-to-peer marketplaces, right? But again, I just want to really drive this home, specifically on peer-to-peer, because this is a new concept for so many folks. And working with Ulingo as a small startup, it was challenging for us at times just because it is such a new concept for so many people. Why should I have this student-to-student marketplace, right? This is not impacting me, my day-to-day life. Well, I'm hoping that if some of the numbers that we've shown, some of the use cases, some of the examples of how students are engaging with this product, and simply the impact it can have within your mobile strategy, that's really what we're trying to drive with on the peer-to-peer side, and building the sharing economy on campus. So I think we have a little bit of time if we want to do some questions. And I will have a lunch and learn table as well to answer any questions and things like that. But while we have some time, yeah? Oh.
I see some in higher ed being concerned about students maybe doing some illicit things on there.
Sure.
So how do you manage that? What's the risk and liability to institutions?
Sure. So we have image recognition that scans every image before it hits the marketplace. We're able to detect exactly what it is, 700 keyword flagging system to flag anything. We're able to see actually text within images as well. But when students log in through single sign-on, there's kind of the social responsibility that they have. So we haven't seen a student with the gall to post something inappropriate. It doesn't mean that it couldn't happen, but that's why we have these safeguards in all of our agreements and our help center of our terms of use and things like that. The university has no liability for anything on the marketplace whatsoever, so total indemnification there. Did that answer your question? Okay, cool. Yeah. Any other questions? Oh, yeah, in the back.
Have you had an experience
Sure, yeah, a great question, and we do expect that to happen in terms of crazy traffic because now you have students creating content and engaging, but that would not affect your Modo contract, no. Hopefully it'll drive value for your campus app, but not extra dollars out of your budget. Yeah.
Great that it's free to us. I'm just curious, there must be some expense somewhere to the students, what kind of fees or...
Sure. Yeah, so like I said, we process all these transactions digitally. Students can pay in cash. The reason we don't promote that because there's no assistance we can provide during the transaction if they do that. Kind of similar with Uber. You could get an Uber and say, hey, I don't want to pay. I'll just give you $5 in cash. That doesn't totally happen that much because you want to have that kind of vetted experience. So we do take a 5% transaction fee. And our transaction fee, also we build our relationships with universities where we actually share a portion of our transaction fee that we take back to the campus. So at Northridge, they're using it for a scholarship fund from the marketplace. At Chapman, we're working, I think they're doing it either for their student organizations or for a student entrepreneurship accelerator to have funds go through there. So we really try, the transaction fees, of course, for any payments company, that's just the reality of digital payments. There have to be transaction fees. But we try to drive that value back to the campus as well. So there's actually this social benefit when students are completing transactions on campus. They're actually going to fund a specific thing on campus. Yeah.
And would be responsibility for people staying at the app store, right? Because if you do any transaction online or mobile app,
Sure. Yeah, so that's a good question. So it's not considered an in-app purchase. So Google or Apple would take like 40% or something. It's pretty significant for an in-app purchase. So these are not considered in-app purchases. So Google, Apple would not be taking any cut or anything like that. Yeah.
What about the event that it is not, there's no value attached, like commencement tickets, for instance?
Sure. Sure, and it's like a free item?
Yeah, it's a transaction, but it's $0.
Sure. Yeah. So we have one of the options we have is a lost and found, right, which is $0, or commencement tickets, which are $0. And the value of posting a $0 item, there's no fees on that, obviously. But the value of that is who bought, right? You know who purchased this through. We have really detailed audit trails specifically for our organizations, student organizations, departments. We're able to tag transactions with specific group IDs so you can delineate that in your reporting systems. But for $0 transactions, we totally encourage that because you want to be able to track who bought what, at what time, in what quantities, and you could do that all through the analytics in the App Center. So yeah, for $0 items and for really anything can have that value.
Just a step
Yeah.
further to what she was asking, what about a non-transaction like a rental, something that, there's this much transaction at all?
So a rental in the sense that,
I need a roommate or I have
sure.
something like that.
Yeah, we love to see the different ways that students use it. Typically, what we build the marketplace for and intend for it, students will do a lot of other things with it. And if that is a supportive tool and they want to say, hey, my room is $500 and they want to actually have that on the marketplace, and that's totally an option. It's kind of similar, I wouldn't say the same, similar to the lost and found where there isn't, it could be anything, not necessarily transactional, but this is where students are looking for things in a commercial environment. They're thinking when they arrive to the marketplace that this is something that they're paying for or looking that they're going to be spending money. So housing, definitely an option. We're continually building out new commercial opportunities, so that's rentals as well, not just housing, but let's say I don't want to sell something because I'm going abroad for a semester, but I'm not using it. Maybe I can rent it for $20 a month. So that kind of subscription charge is what we're looking to build out in the marketplace for all these different use cases because we do see students posting rental things and they just post them multiple times for those transactions. So we're trying to see that feedback and build for it. Yeah.
How are incidents handled? So let's say there's a transaction when I take something home and it breaks or it's not exactly what it was. So do we have to train staff at the university in order to be able to handle that, or is that all done in the app?
Yeah, no, we definitely don't want you guys to have to train anybody on how to deal with this phone doesn't work. So in the platform itself, we actually have a help center, an automated chat and a chat bot, and then obviously user support. So we handle all of the end user facing platform-based questions. When things are about student organizations or I have a hold on my student points, we can direct that to the university. If there's an incident, so during the transaction, the way that we build the transaction, and I'd love to show this to you so you can actually see how it works. But during the transaction period, we actually give students the opportunity, if I'm buying something, based on the category of what I'm buying, we have in our help center a best practices guide. So if this is an electronics, right, look at the screen. What are the angles to look at the screen? Plug it in. Is the plug working, right? What you should be looking for specific electronics. If it's a textbook, 12 steps to identify if it's counterfeit. So we try to give students all the information that we can give them to assess the items before they complete a transaction. The benefit of flowing through the transaction process is we know who bought what from whom, and so we can mediate and offer that support. As of today, we haven't had to have that to deal with that. Students are meeting up with each other, so it's not like eBay where I hope what I'm buying is what I'm getting. In many cases, it's on other platforms it's not. But students are actually inspecting the items in person, so that's why we haven't had that issue. But we manage all of the end user support and are able to actually also automate responses from items in our help center to help students immediately if we can't get back to them once they ask the question.